currently live in Taiwan. You are a singer and entertainer here, and you're also a business owner. We're going to talk about all of that. But how did you come here? How did you become a singer? How did you become Dooley, that we all know in Taiwan and love? How did you grow up?
That's a big question. How did I
Yes.
grow up? I mean,
Yes.
should I start from? Well, I grew up in Phoenix, Arizona, and I had both my parents. My parents were small business owners, and and I went to school, university, just like everybody else. And after, when I was getting ready to graduate university, I decided that I need to leave Phoenix and try to find my own way. And so, fortunately, I had a best friend, kind of brother type situation, who had been to Taiwan, and he said, "Why don't you just go to Taiwan?" And so I sold one of my cars. At that time, I had two cars, and I sold one of my cars to get enough money together to buy a plane ticket and get a passport, and then packed up my house and put my furniture and everything in my sister's garage and came to Taiwan. And 19 years later, this is where I still am. So I guess what it is I don't know. I've tried to leave several times, actually.
You mean leave Taiwan?
Yeah, I've actually made plans to leave.
Yeah.
And then at every time I get ready to make a plan to leave, it seems like another opportunity presents itself. And I'm a big fan of going with the flow and staying with your destiny. And so when the timing was never right, and so I just decided to keep staying. And this is where I've been.
So okay. This mentality of going with the flow, have you always had that, or only after coming to Taiwan?
I think my personality changed a lot from let's say when I was younger. I was a very different person, and growing up in America, I was always a big fan of consumerism and always trying to buy more. And
really?
So, yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I'm so surprised because the Dooley I know is not like that. So it's very interesting.
Oh yeah, I mean, because when you're in that environment and everyone around you is talking about getting a new pair of Jordans or this new pair of shoes, and they're going shopping to get this new name brand outfit, and they just got a new car and they just put some 18-inch rims on it, and then they got that system, they boom 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 boom, and then you just get in that attitude, and it's just like, well, hey, I want to be like that too. And so that was the kind of attitude I took. So when I was in university, I ended up applying for a credit card, and I think I ran up I think it was $2,400 worth of credit card debt in 1 year. And
damn.
I had purchased like probably about 20 pair of sneakers, like
Snickers,
shoes,
20
sneakers.
Those are so expensive Snickers.
Tennis shoes. Man, I had every color shoes you could imagine. I had like red and white, red and blue, blue and yellow, black and green, because it was just everyone, all my friends, everyone around me was in that kind of mindset that you had to have something new, and your shoes had to match your clothes. And when you go out to the club, you want to make sure you had a gold chain. And that was the environment that I grew up in. And so that's the way I kind of thought about things, although that was definitely not my upbringing, and my parents were definitely not like that, but my friends were like that.
So what was your upbringing though?
I mean, what do you mean? What was my upbringing?
Because so you say you were into consumerism and you wanted to have fancy shoes and fancy jewelry and cars or whatever, but your upbringing was not like that. So what was your upbringing like? Your parental guidance or her household?
Well, it's my dad grew up in a family of 16, right? And so my mom was the only child, but my dad grew up in a family of 15 brothers and sisters. And so, but they both grew up in a time when America was still segregated, and going to, the all black school. And the first time when segregation ended in 1966 or whatever it was, 66, 67, my mom was in high school at the time. And so they went from their all black school and they went to a desegregated school at that time. That was in high school. So the kind of mindset they had, they were both coming from poor families, so when we were growing up, it was like, well, yeah, you get 2 pair of shoes a year, that's it. And you get 1 pair of dress shoes every year, you get a pair of shoes in at the beginning of the school year, and then you might get a pair of shoes at the beginning of the second semester, like after Christmas or something like that. And that's all you're getting. And a pair of dress shoes for church, of course. And so that was kind of situation. And like growing up, like I would be, because I grew up in a upper middle class neighborhood, I guess you could say, like, yeah, upper middle class area. And it just seemed like all of my friends, they would always have like, I'll give you a great example of this. In the 1980s, I sound like an old man. In the late 1980s,
you are an old man.
Early 1990s. And I remember very clearly, I was in like a fifth grade. So it must have been about 1988, 89, 90, somewhere around there. Anyways, at that time, my parents had brought me and my brother only a year apart, and my parents had bought us each a leather jacket. And it was a fake leather jacket, but it was a leather jacket. And so we were both really happy. We had like a leather jacket, and we was like, yeah. And then went to school, and then like all these these rich white kids are like, oh, your jacket is fake. Your jacket it's not even real leather. And we was like, bitch, I don't care. At least I got a jacket, because like they would always have like all these new clothes and all this stuff, and my parents would be like, well, you can have all those new things, but what does it mean? You know, and they'd be like, what? But everyone else has it. You know, you're a kid, you still start thinking like that. And we were kind of upset. We were like, so what, man? I'm still floss my jacket. And we rocked our jacket. It was great. But hearing kids like that talking to you like, oh, your jacket is fake, or why don't you have a raincoat? You know, like, because I lived in the desert, so it would never rain. It would rain like 3 times a year. And my dad refused to buy us umbrellas and rain jackets. He was like, no, there's no rain jackets, no umbrellas. So if it was raining, we had to go to school. My dad would go get one of those big ass black trash bags, and we like cut a hole in the top and cut 2 holes for arms. And that's how we went to school.
Nice.
And then the rest of the kids would laugh, and we're like, damn, well, why is everybody else getting the new Nintendo 64 or the new Nintendo, whatever it is? And my dad was like, yeah, I can go buy you one of those, but what does it mean? Oh, so if you want one, okay, let's go to work. And so we'd have to go work on the weekend, go cut grass and learn how help my dad run electric in one of his rental houses, or do something like this, do some plumbing, or go clean up some trash somewhere. And that's what we had to do just to even earn. We didn't even ever get what do they call allowance. I never got an allowance. Like everybody else would be like, yeah, I get $20 a week, and all I have to do is like wash the dishes. I was like, what? We have to wash the dishes and we don't get no money.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
How did you feel about this while it happened? Were you frustrated? Were you thankful? What was it?
No, at the time I was very frustrated, and I just felt like, well, why is it that you guys have money, but you guys don't want to spend it on us? And it part of us kind of made you feel like, do your parents less love you because you see the other things that the other people are constantly getting from their parents? But then I looked at my dad, and he was the same way. You know, like he purchased his second new truck in 1991. It was a Toyota Tundra or something like that. It was a 1991 red pickup, which we still have today. And my dad, from that point on, never, ever purchased a new car. He was like, for what? This truck still works. Why do I need to get a new one?
Right. I'm kind of the same way. Yeah.
The air conditioner would go out, and he'd be like, well, we'll just have to ride without air conditioning for a while until we save up enough money to get the air conditioner fixed. And Phoenix would be hot. It'd be like 46 degrees Celsius or something like that. It'd be hot. And you'd be in there trying to roll the windows down and try to stay cool. And now I look back at those things, and I really understand what my dad was trying to get across to us, because I look at some of my other classmates who always had the new shoes, who always had the new clothes, who always had the umbrellas and the rain jackets. And now they're, you know, living with their parents still.
Really?
Wow. Or they're just still struggling, trying to make it, or they, and I see that, and I'm thinking to myself, well, I guess, you know, my dad was teaching me a valuable lesson. What is the value of $1? What do you really need versus what do you really want? Would you rather take your money and buy a bunch of things, or would you take your money and invest it so that you can, you know, maybe retire early? When
did you realize that?
I only realized that after coming to Taiwan, which is a strange part, but I guess that's around the right time, you know, 25, 26 years old. You come into an island, and then when I got here, I saw, well, a lot of people are doing with a lot less than what I had.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I don't need 20 pairs of jeans, although I probably have 40 pair of jeans now.
Really?
I don't need hundreds of t-shirts and all these shoes and stuff, although I have a lot of shoes and a bunch of t-shirts and things like that now. But I didn't buy a lot. Most of the stuff I have was given to me, of course, from sponsors and things like that. But I realized that I didn't need to deal with all of that stuff. And the more stuff I had, the more difficult it made for me to be mobile and to be able to move around and to travel, because it was just more stress.
Right.
And so at one point, I threw all of my stuff away, threw it all away. This is before I moved to Taipei. I threw all the clothes I had away. And I just came back. I said, all I need is 2 pair of jeans, 5 button-up shirts, 5 t-shirts, some tennis shoes and whatever. And that's all I need. And I threw everything away.
Yeah.
And
I do that every couple of years when my wardrobe gets just cluttered and I'm like, am I still wearing this stuff? Nope. I throw it all out. I don't care. It's just too much baggage. Okay. But why did you really come to Taiwan in the first place? Was it kind of like an escape, or were you like, what were you unhappy with in the United States? Why did you feel like leaving in the first place?
Was I unhappy? No, but I think a part of me, also just growing up, because, you know, when you hear, like most of my friends, I had a lot of Black friends, and even though we lived in a very white neighborhood, but I did have a lot of Black friends, and so all of my friends would always say,
did you have white friends too?
I know white people,
but you didn't have white friends.
I still don't have white friends. I'm lying.
Who am I? What?
You're asking that question. Of course I have white friends.
No, but did you have white friends back in the US?
Of course I did.
Okay, good. Yeah, just making sure.
Of course I did.
All right.
Of course I did.
Go ahead.
But a lot of my closest friends were all Black people. And and even at school, I mostly hung out with Black people. And you would hear things like, well, the only reason why you can do this is because your parents. The only reason why you got to go to university is because of your parents, which is very true to a certain extent, because
you mean you got to hear that from other Black from your Black friends? Yes,
who are in a very different situation. You know, they grew up in poor neighborhoods and they were being bused to our school.
Wow.
Right. And the way that they divided the lines and things like that. So they were in a very different situation. So when I got ready to go to graduate high school or whatever, I decided I was going to go to college. But even in high school, my parents gave me a car. You know, I was 16. It was an old car. It was my sister's my sister had bought a new car. So that car got handed down to me. And it was a old Nissan Sentra. It was like an 87 Nissan Sentra. And it had like 4 different color tints on the window. And it was a big chunk missed out the seat. But I was happy because I had a car. And a lot of people didn't have cars. And my dad refused.
Excuse me. Sorry for interrupting. I'm really curious about this, because I'm pretty ignorant about the school system in the United States. I mean, I haven't experienced it myself. I've only read about it or heard about it in talks online. It's a widespread. How to say? Isn't it that usually schools in rich neighborhoods are better funded than schools in poor neighborhoods? I think you've talked about this to me before, and I've heard about it on news and stuff. But you said you went to school with Black kids from poor neighborhoods, but there were also a lot of rich white kids at the school. So how does that work, that you all went to the same school?
Well, I can't speak on every state or in every city, but I can speak on how it worked in Phoenix, Arizona. The schools were divided up by districts. The districts were divided up by the neighborhoods that you lived in. And the districts that had more money, which means the neighborhood which had more money, would have better funded schools. So I went to one of at that time, it was like the #1 public high school in the United States. I mean, not in Arizona.
Okay, yeah. Wow. Still,
it was a brand new school.
But you still had Black classmates from poor neighborhoods.
Right.
How did that happen?
So it worked the way they had drew the district lines. They drew in some of the people from one of the poorer, not necessarily poorer, but not a less affluential affluent neighborhood or whatever the case is. And those kids got a choice if they wanted to go to the school that was nearby them, or they can go to this other school, because they were trying to make things more diverse, I guess. Was the plan. So a lot of people got bused into our school. And there were also other Black people who also from that neighborhood, but the vast majority of the Black people in our school came from another neighborhood.
And how do you evaluate that kind of strategy? Do you think it's good? Do you think it was beneficial?
I think there are positives and negatives to it because like I said, the way it gets all divided up based on your property taxes. So if the more property taxes, then the more money goes to those schools. It's good because it provides an opportunity for some people who would not have otherwise had the opportunity to go to a school with better teachers to have money for music education or have money for their sports programs or have or anything like that. So some kids would have that opportunity, but the vast majority did not. And the vast majority. So if you grew up in a poor neighborhood, the chances are you're going to go to a poor, less funded school. I guess that's the way she said.
Yeah.
And they would have less funding. So whereas my school, we had at that time, 1992 is when I went to high school, I guess. And we had computers, not every school had computers. We had brand new books. We had a brand new facility. We had a Taco Bell in our school.
Wow.
All of these things. Our music program was highly funded. And then you go to another school and you see that is not the case. You say, oh, you guys don't have computers? And you don't think about it as a teenager. You're not thinking of how that system works, but that's how the system works. And so I think it's good and bad.
How aware? Oh, I guess everybody's aware, but how much does it matter to the students going to that school how well off other students' families are, what social class they belong to?
I think it plays a big difference. I think it plays a huge difference. I guess you don't necessarily know it, but you feel it, I guess, if that's the case. So if like a lot of my classmates, they would be like one of my classmates for his 16th birthday, he got a brand new Benz for his birthday. All right. And so it's just like, well, he has a Benz and I'm sitting up driving this piece of shit 1987.
At least you had a car. I didn't even have a car, dude. I had nothing.
But I had a car.
Yeah.
And so I was grateful that I had a car because some of the other people didn't even have a car.
Exactly. Right? I was one of them. I didn't have a car. Right? My family didn't have a car. So
right. Yeah. So I mean, so it makes you kind of feel like this. It's like, well, I'm not doing as well as other people are. But I'm not doing as bad as other people are either.
Yeah.
Right. So it kind of, I guess in a way, does it make you feel better about yourself? I think so. In some ways it does play that. And especially as a young teenager, you don't really understand the dynamics of everything and what it means. But I think you do feel it.
Do you feel like the poor Black kids looked at you differently, or that the white kids looked at you differently than they did at the other poor Black kids?
Well, I hate to say that there were poor Black kids because there were poor white people too, and there were poor Mexicans too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think that necessarily looked down on you so much as it's just that just was the situation, right? But amongst the Black people, there was definitely that because they felt like, oh, a lot of Black people would be like, oh, you only have this because of your parents. And so I especially felt that when I went to university because a lot of my friends did not have any money to go to university. If you didn't get a university in America is very expensive, right?
Yeah.
And so even if you graduate and you have okay, like I had okay grades, I didn't have great grades, but I was still able to go to school. And my parents were still able to pay for my college education. Now, if you didn't have good grades, you couldn't get a scholarship. Well, how are you going to go to university? Unless you just take out a huge loan, right? So basically, you're stuck with the option to either go to the military or go get a job, basically. And so a lot of those people end up just going to get a job, And
I remember when we visited your aunt in San Diego, right? Yeah, San Diego. Yeah. Was it your niece or your cousin? I forgot. She's pretty athletic. She was about to go to university.
Oh, that's my cousin.
Cousin, right? And you talked to her about potentially going to university in Europe or even Germany because it would be free. And I
Hmm.
remember she was very surprised that that was even an option. And you said, "Hey, you should consider that." So whatever happened to her? Did she decide to go to the US or?
No, she got on a full ride scholarship to the university in University of California. I think
Okay.
one of the schools playing basketball.
Oh wow. So she has a like a as an athlete, she got a scholarship
Yeah,
as an
yeah,
athlete. Okay,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So that's that option. Wow. Yeah, I don't know. I because in Germany it's completely different. University, at least when I was there, was free. So you don't have to pay any, you didn't have to pay any tuition back then. It was
Hmm.
just, can you get into the department that you want to study? Like
Right,
if your grades are not good enough, you can't get in.
right.
But
Well,
then,
it's a different situation. It's
yeah.
a different situation. But for me, that was my main thing. Is just like going to university. You hear other people talking, even they're not talking bad about you, but they're saying the only reason why you have what you have is because of your parents. So my thing was that I needed to leave Phoenix to prove to myself
Hmm.
that I could make it on my own and just try to see the world, just kind of gain a little experience.
Yeah.
I think that was probably my main reason for having come to Taiwan.
And then when you got here, before you came here, did you have any expectations? What did you think you would do here?
I came here and I thought that I was going to teach English for 1 year
Uh-huh.
and save up enough money to pay off that $2,400 in credit card debt and save a little extra so I can go back and put some new rims on my the car that I had purchased 2 years
Oh,
prior.
but
That was
what
my
was your
goal.
plan? What did you want to do in the US professionally?
I didn't have a plan yet.
Oh, okay.
I was just graduating university. I
Uh-huh.
didn't even attend my graduation actually.
Wow.
Uh, so like I had finished my classes, and that's that night I went out with my best friend, play brother, whatever. And I was like, yeah, I want to move to Texas. He's like, move to Texas? No, you're going to Taiwan. And I thought it was kind of a joke. And then when I woke up in the morning, I had an email saying, okay, you have your job. You need to leave on January 15th or something like that. And so I just busted my butt in that 3 weeks, purchased a plane ticket, and rocked up in Taiwan. And that was it. And I was thinking, oh, I could stay here and save enough money to do a little bit. Maybe at the end of the year, I'll travel to Thailand with a little bit of money, save up enough money, leave a little bit, purchase some new rims, and go back to America and figure out something out.
Hmm.
But that's just not what happened.
And what happened then?
But what happened then? I started saving a little bit of money, and then I was like, well, it's kind of nice to have a little bit extra money.
Hmm.
And then went to Thailand. I did go to Thailand, and I was like, oh, I kind of like traveling. Maybe I should go back and save up a little bit more so that I'll be a little bit better when I get into America.
Hmm.
And then I was like, wow, there's an opportunity for me to go to university here to get my master's degree, and it's free.
Yeah.
Well, shit. Well, maybe I'll do that first, and then I'll have a master's degree when I go back to America. And then I was like, doing that, and then it was
But
like, well, I
why
have
did you want to get a master's degree anyway? Did you have any plans to use this, or is it just for? Did you wanted to prove to yourself that you're smart enough to get a master's degree, or what is it?
No, I just wanted to get a master's degree because I knew that if I went back to America with a master's degree, the chances that I would be able to get a better job would definitely be increased,
Okay.
right? I would not
I don't
just
know.
be going back with
I've never done the research. Like I got a master's degree because I kind of had to. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been allowed to stay in Taiwan. I would have had to go back to Germany. I never wanted a master's degree. I never cared. I never. I don't know if it really helps. Helps you get a better job in in other countries outside of Taiwan. It's. I think it's very debatable. I'm not sure, but maybe if you go
well,
to a good enough university, might be. Yeah.
maybe so. I don't know, but in my
Yeah.
mind, I was thinking just get a master's degree and then I can go back and say I have a master's degree,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? And
And
maybe
so
that would
that
help me
was
get a job.
also a scholarship, right?
Yeah, yeah.
How did you get that scholarship?
I think one of my friends had told me about it, and she was saying that she was going to apply, and I was like, "Well, I'll apply too. I'll apply too." And then I just applied, and I got it, and she got it, but she ended up not going to the university. She ended up moving back to Canada because she ended up getting pregnant, and so she decided she was going to move back to Canada.
Mm,
Uh,
okay, and
and so
so you were still teaching English on the side while studying, or?
no, I wasn't teaching English on the side. I was teaching English full time and studying full time
Oh wow.
and working as a singer on the weekends.
Okay, so but how did you get into this singing gig
Stepped
initially?
into it, just stepped into it. That's what I'm saying. Like it just kind of happened.
How?
Like I was one of my coworkers who had also decided to go to school. He was always, we were working together, and he was we were classmates in the same program, the same started in the same year. He had started like a little rock band kind of thing, like a 60s rock band. He was into Bob Dylan and all these other guys. And so he asked me if I would be willing to play the piano for his band. And I said, yeah, sure. And it'll be something to do. And then I started doing that. And then we went to do the show in Taiwan. And he had asked me if I would just sing one song, because I guess he knew I was a singer back in the States when I was going to church.
So you have this background of being able to play piano and sing because of church, correct?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And so then I sang a song, and then it just happened to be at these two foreign guys bar in Taiwan, and they saw me and they were like, well, we want to put a band together. Can you come be our lead singer? And I was like, oh, okay. And so then I started doing that. And then at that time, we were the biggest foreign band on the entire island. We were traveling around doing every festival. I mean, on the main stage, the main spot for all of these festivals. It was a great time. And then I guess the Taiwanese agent had saw me. He asked me, would I be willing to go sing in a Taiwanese venue? And I was like, yeah, if I can, at least make enough money that would cover what I'm making teaching English, I would consider it.
Mm-hmm. So you would just drop the English teaching job and just do singing full time, basically. Right.
And so, and then an opportunity came up, and he called me. He was like, oh, would you be interested? And I was like, yeah, I'll go. And then I went. So I kind of, I didn't quit my English job. I sang full time. And then my day off was Monday at the time. So on Mondays, I would go back to Jai. I was living in Kaohsiung, singing at Ida, an amusement park there.
Yeah.
And then on my day off, I would go back to Jai and teach English in Jai on my day off. So I was working 7 days a week. The entire time I was singing at the amusement park also.
How did you have the energy for that?
I didn't have the energy, but I wanted to save a little bit more money.
Wow. So that was for traveling, or why, what was your, I feel like, I don't know, that maybe I'm just a lazy asshole, but if I have to work so hard for something that I don't really know what to do with, I mean, certain amount of money is important, right? But then after a certain amount, I would be like, does this really improve my life? And you have to give up so much free time to make extra money that I don't even know what to do with. Did you have a plan? Did you just say, oh, just money, I don't care about anything else? What was it? Was your mindset back then?
My mindset was save as much money as you possibly can, because my dad would always say my dad was a big fan of like dropping little tidbits, and you definitely would not understand what he was saying at the time. But as I grew up and I got a little older, I started kind of understanding some of the things. And and he would say like, well, yeah, money's not everything. You don't need a whole bunch of money, but it helps when there's opportunity. And I'm like, I didn't have a plan for my money, but I felt like I should save my money, because someday when an opportunity presents itself that I need that money, then I can use that money for my benefit. Right. So I said, well, now I'm just working. Let me just save as much money as possible. And I was even cheaper than I am now. I was real bad then. I was real cheap then. It's like super duper cheap. I wouldn't go to bars. I would like take any, if I love to drink, and I would go to just like 7-Eleven and just get a 7-Eleven and sit out in the park, or buy a bottle of wine and go get my friends, and we'd sit in the park and drink, because I didn't want to spend money.
Yeah.
Because I felt like, well, just save as much money as you can, because you're going to need it. Maybe I'm leaving next year.
Yeah. Did you feel like you were giving up a lot of opportunities to have fun or enjoy life for No, you weren't. You were still living in the moment and having fun.
Because I had everything that I need, that I wanted. And I was still, I was still able to travel. Like I would take maybe 2 trips a year and maybe go to Thailand or Vietnam. And I was staying like backpacker places and whatever to make, so I had the money to go stay a little longer or something like that. But I ate what I wanted to eat, and I was happy. And
you were okay coming to Taiwan, because I know, and your family has a nice house in Phoenix, and coming here, you have to get used to different housing. It's a lot smaller, not as fancy, and you don't have a backyard and a swimming pool or whatever. How was that transition? Were you immediately okay having a lot less? Or
no, I think I was fine with not having a lot less. I think I was perfectly fine with having a lot less. I had a TV, I had a computer, and I mean, I mean, the first house I lived in, I don't think I had a sofa.
Yeah.
I had a 2-bedroom apartment, and I didn't have a sofa or anything like that
Yeah.
in my living room. I had like a little twin mattress that I put in the living room to watch TV.
Why do you think you're okay with that? There are a lot of people like I'm okay with that too. I was when I came here. But for example, my brother visited me and my best German friend visited me, and they when they saw how I lived back then, they're like, I can't believe you've been living like this for years. This is not really comfortable. I'm like, I don't know, I don't need much. So it's really not for everybody, right? Do you
Right.
think it's your upbringing? Is it your values are just different? What do you think it is that allows you to be okay or be content with that?
Well, I think that to be honest, I live a lot better than a lot of people in Taiwan do.
Right, but a lot less like luxurious than
I would
uh,
if I was in America.
exactly. Yeah, so you
Probably
you
so.
would give up a lot on like just housing or uh quiet. I guess you were in a more quiet city before, but it's still
Right.
like where you live in Phoenix is a lot quieter, more space.
Right.
You have a nice huge kitchen, and I don't know. It
Right.
feels a little bit more luxurious over there, right?
It does, but like I don't think I so much needed that at the time when I was here. I think I was more interested in, saving some money.
Hmm.
Then that was my whole thinking. Just stay here, save money, stay here and
Yeah.
save money until you get ready to go back. And then when you go back, then you can go back and, you can purchase a car
Hmm.
without being in debt. Or, have enough money so that you can get a start. If you want to take a little time off and try to find a job or something like that, you can do that
Hmm.
and not feel so stressed out about it. And so that was my plan. And that was my plan.
Do you feel like a lot of people from our generation uh, are too quick to spend the money they make instead of investing or say just saving it?
I think it's different for everybody, but I think
Yeah.
as a general rule of thumb, absolutely. And I see that also the big change in the way Taiwanese people spend their money now.
Mm.
I think when I first came here, 19 years ago, it just seemed like a lot of my coworkers, they weren't going out spending all of their money. But maybe it's just because that's in Jai, a very different situation.
Yeah.
But I see that here now. Like I think a lot of people have lost hope, and they have that kind of not necessarily lost hope, but they know the chance of them being able to buy a house in Taiwan is slim to none.
Yeah. They've given up on it.
Right.
So they're like, okay, what do I save for now? I
Right.
might as well spend it. Yeah.
Right. I'm not going to be able to ever buy a car. So
Mm.
I guess my biggest dream is to go purchase a new Gogoro and get the newest iPhone every other
Yeah.
year.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's
There's a lot of
fine
that.
because it's their life, right?
Yeah.
But I guess that's not anything that I'm so much interested in.
Do you keep in touch with friends from high school?
Uh, I see them on Facebook every once in a while,
Yeah.
and if I go back to the States, I might bump into them or something like that, and we might go out for drinks and stuff like that. But for the most part, no,
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't
I
call them
don't
or anything
either.
like
Like
that.
I heard from my brother that they had a couple, what is it? What do you call it?
School reunions, class reunions, or
Yeah,
something.
class reunions, school reunions. And yeah, I've never been. I mean, it's too far. And even if I was in Germany, I wasn't really interested in going because when I was in school, I wasn't the popular guy. I had a very, very small circle of friends, and most
Mm,
people didn't care about me, and I didn't care about them. So I'm like, I didn't suddenly start caring about them after 10 years of being away from Germany. So I don't really
mm,
see the point of going back. And I feel like a lot at least my brother told me at, after several meetings, their school reunions, it just turns into a this is what my kids are doing. What are your kids doing? Or it's like who has the better job? It's kind of like a kind of show
mm,
off kind of opportunity. And I'm really not interested in that. I'm one reason why I left Germany was because I felt I had a lack of connections there. Like it was very hard for me to connect to people there on a deeper
mm,
level. And I was really looking for a place where I could be myself more and I could explore and be not be judged as easily. And I am I have been judged many times in Taiwan, but I feel
mhm,
like I also kind of I I have a benefit of being a white guy in Taiwan or like a Western guy.
Mhm.
And then you can do a lot of stuff that you wouldn't necessarily be able to do in your home country. And people will say, oh, yeah, it's okay. He's a foreigner. He can get away with that.
Right.
So
I totally agree with that. But I think another thing that was very important for me, I was able, going to a new place, you come here, nobody knows you. Nobody knows your past. Nobody knows how you grew up. No one knows anything about you. You come here and absolutely reinvent yourself.
absolutely, yeah.
And if shit hits the fan, you can always go home. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, that was my dad day. He was like, well, just do whatever you want to do, because whatever happens, you can always come home.
Has this shit ever hit your fan in your life in Taiwan?
Not yet.
No,
Not
really?
yet.
Okay, you've always avoided big trouble. No scandals.
So far.
Okay, good.
So
good.
far.
Okay,
I won't be trying to get me in no scandals.
No, I won't be the one to start a scandal now. Good. Yeah, it's interesting though. Yeah. So you've been in the entertainment industry for what, 10 years now? How long?
The singing count?
Like yeah, I guess.
Then about 11 years.
Yeah.
12 maybe, something like that.
And then because of your singing jobs, I guess some agent said, "Hey, there's a TV show is looking for foreigners. Do you want to be on a TV show?" Or
yeah. And so then I came up and I did that first. My first TV show was called Haling Lao Sihao, and it was with Ufong. It was me and Ufong, and there were a couple other guys there, and another girl from Brazil. She's still here. She's married. But anyways, there was a group of us, and we all did that show. And then when that show ended, I got another opportunity to go on a singing show, a singing competition show, and I did that. And that's how it all kind of got started. And then it is what it is.
How did your family and friends back home react to your celebrity in Taiwan?
You know, I'd never ever told them that I was that.
But they must know that, right?
They know now.
They've seen clips on TV.
Yeah, I think they know now,
YouTube.
but I don't know. I never really talked to them about it.
And they don't care, or they don't ask you about it.
Not so much.
It's funny because when I go back to Germany, I'm back to being a nobody. And I really like that because in Taiwan, you already stick out anyway because you're a black guy among thousands of Asian people when you go to Taipei City, millions in Taipei City.
Right.
So you always stick out like a sore thumb. And then you're a celebrity and everybody's like, hey, Dooley. And then you go back to the United States and nobody could care less about you, right?
Right.
I think that's a good thing because we are not on the level of fame of Hollywood actors that they can go anywhere and always be recognized. And I guess that's kind of, that really, you cannot live a normal life anymore. We have a tainted view of who you are, I guess, right?
Right. I think that's true for everybody, but I think the great thing about it is this. Even though we have that somewhat celebrity status, we have that refuge. We can always go home and nobody's going to know anything, right? And I think that's the best thing about it. Like if I just get so tired of it, or I just don't want to do it, then I can just go back to being Dooley the farmer in Oklahoma, right? And I think because it was never my goal or plan or a dream even to become a celebrity. I didn't want to be an actor. I didn't want to be a singer.
Yeah,
those weren't things that were even on my radar. You know, I was thinking I probably would be a business person, maybe go back and get into real estate with my dad or something like that. That was kind of what I was thinking.
How did you develop that idea, that goal?
Well, because my dad was in real estate.
Okay, so it was always in the back of your mind that maybe someday I'm going to get into real estate after leaving Taiwan.
Right. So I wanted to save up enough money. So that's all I was saying, like save up enough money because maybe you have enough money to purchase your first house. Maybe, or if the opportunity presents itself, or maybe you had an opportunity to go buy something that would help you make some money. Yeah. Instead of buying stuff that's gonna, wear for 2 or 3 times, and you feel like you felt good wearing it that first day. The second time you probably felt good. Probably after a couple months, you just like, I probably need to go get a new shirt so I can feel good again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
So,
then it's not just real estate. You want to become a farmer now.
right. Well,
So,
it's kind of real estate.
well, I guess the average person, when they hear real estate, they think about like buying a house here, selling that to somebody, a fixer upper or whatever, or like having
Mm-hmm.
a portfolio of houses in California or whatever, wherever, not like
Mm-hmm.
having a farm and like having cattle and stuff like that. To most people, that's not what they think of when they think real estate, right? So
Right.
how did you always want to have a farm, or did that idea appear later to you in life?
I, I I've always wanted to, kind of live on a farm, on the farm where my dad grew up at. And so that was kind of one of my things. But I think the major thing that sparked my interest in that was probably when I was about 28 years old, 29 years old. I read a book called The Omnivore's Dilemma. I don't know if you read that book.
Nope, I
It,
didn't.
it was great. And so I read that and I was like, wow, this is kind of cool. Like the systems he's implementing on his farm and all this kind of stuff. And so I was like, well, this is, now I know what my dream is. Now I know
Mhm.
what my dream is. So someday I'm going to probably do that. And so I started telling my friends, yeah, I'm going to be a farmer. I'm going to be a farmer. And little to I, that I definitely didn't know then, but that I actually would actually become one. And
Mhm.
I have those things. And so now I'm trying to set it up so that if in fact my time here comes to an end, I can go back to America and actually live my dream.
Yeah, well, I want to talk to you a lot more about this farming thing because you have. Are you willing to share more ideas about this, your goals and your views on farming in general, and also Black people as farmers in the United States? And can we talk about
Absolutely.
this? Oh, okay, great.
Absolutely.
Because I think there's a big problem in the United States that a lot of people are they're not even aware of the opportunities they have because nobody tells them. Everybody
Mm-hmm.
thinks I have to go to university, I have to take on loans and pay them back for 20, 30 years because they're freaking expensive. And maybe even after going to good university, you might be not be able to get a high paying job because your competition is too high.
Right.
And so especially, I guess, Black people think a lot of them probably give up in their teens because like they think the whole system is rigged. I don't know what to do. I don't have money to pay for college. So what can a young person do if they don't necessarily have the money to go to college, or if, let's say, they have a college degree but they don't have um, the best paying job? What would you do if you had this goal? You want to be your own man. You don't want to rely on basically the system, because okay, so ultimately your goal is you want to be you want to create. Sorry, I should take a step back here because I know you haven't talked about this, but I know this from previous discussions. You want to create a community that is
Mm-hmm.
self-sustained, right? So
Mm-hmm.
you don't want to be reliant on the system. You want to have a farm in the United States with friends and family, like-minded people, so you can have your own cattle, your own food, and you can just rely on yourself. You're not dependent on government necessarily. You're not dependent on the economy going well. And
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people are so reliant on the government that they don't even know what to do. So how do you go from this um, role of being a wheel in the system to where you are, where you can actually have the opportunity to create the life that you want?
Mm.
How would you start that process?
I
And what
think
do you
that's a
have to
tap
know?
question. I think you have to know, the first thing that you have to know is that freedom is not free.
What does that mean?
Freedom is not free. And I think in America, I think probably most places around the world, even in Taiwan, I can see that it's not easy to be able to purchase your freedom. And
Mm-hmm.
that's the first step. You have to purchase your freedom from the government, because you go to school, like you said, if you go to university, you have to come up with a big debt. Well, you have to pay that debt back. That means you owe the bank, right? Then you need to get somewhere to live. Well, how are you going to pay for your house? Either you're going to rent a house and pay for somebody else's house, pay for someone else's mortgage, or you're going to have to get a house. You're going to have to purchase one.
Yeah.
And how do you do that? You have to go into debt. And then you need to get a motorcycle. How are you going to get to work? If you're in Taipei, you can take the MRT or the bus. But in not every other city is that an opportunity. Most people you might need a scooter. Well, how do you purchase that if you don't have any money? You got to go into debt, right? And so in order to pay all of that debt back, you are slowly getting yourself into the system. Then you get a credit card. Then you have to pay back that every month. So then now you have to go to work at this meaningless job that you probably don't really like, that you probably don't enjoy waking up to every morning. And that's what you have to do for the rest of your life, because then that car breaks down and then you want to remodel your house, and then something else comes up. Then you have kids, right? It costs a lot to get your freedom.
Yeah.
It costs a lot, even to become a farmer. Yeah. Land is not cheap. And then once you get land, then you need to work land. You need to have a tractor. You need to do this and that and the next. You need to build a house, or maybe you're purchasing a house. So you're in debt, right? And it becomes very difficult. And I absolutely understand that. But I think the key is to figure out how to live with a little bit less so that you can get out of debt and purchase your freedom. Because once you have your freedom, then you can start doing some of the things that you really want to do, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. Well, I noticed your attitude on TV here is like for everybody in the US listening or somewhere that don't know Taiwanese TV, it's actually crazy how many racist jokes they make on TV about white people or black people or whatever, because they don't have the racial awareness or stigma that people in the US have or know about. So Dooley often, I mean, those racial jokes are not necessarily how black people are stupid or whatever. It's nothing evil. It's just insensitive stuff like, you're so dark, I can't see you when the lights are dark are out or whatever, you know. So it's just like it's like really dumb jokes about race, and you are so good at leveraging this to make money and get out of the system. Because I think a lot of people have so much pride that they would speak up and not willingly take the abuse or they wouldn't be able to laugh about it. They wouldn't be able to leverage this role, and they would not be able to succeed in the system. And so this is a problem I see also. I love watching interviews of other celebrities and basketball players, and there are always two sides to a coin. And there are these people who say, you're an Uncle Tom, you're a sellout. And there are these people who say, no, I'm just educated and I do this. So how do you convince people who are not willing to? Another thing is, like, for example, Denzel Washington once said, I'm paraphrasing, I don't have the exact quote, but he says, you will have to do a lot of things you don't want to do in order to be able to do the things you do want to do. And that's kind of what you said. Exactly.
Freedom is not free.
Exactly. So how do you talk to people who say, no, I don't want to be part of the system. I refuse to do what I have to do to change my life?
That's fine.
Right. But then they don't do anything, you know. That's
fine too.
Okay.
Because that's their life.
Yeah.
It's their life. It's their choice. I'm going to make choices that are going to try to benefit what's going to benefit me. That's how I look at it. What's going to benefit me? Yeah. Now, I want to share that information and say, well, hey, you have another opportunity. There's other options out there for you to choose.
Yeah.
And if they say, well, you're just selling yourself, how can you let people like that joke about you?
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to get this paycheck.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want this paycheck. Why? Because I'm going to get this paycheck, and then I'm going to spend it on my farm. I'm going to build my house, and then I'm going to get away from everybody and do what I really want to do. Because I'm not trying to live in the system forever.
Do you find it hard to find like-minded people?
I don't know. I've never really I don't know if I've ever searched for like-minded people.
Well, you told me that you're hoping that you can get your family and friends to join you in this
Oh yeah.
pursuit, and you say a lot of people are not very interested. They'd
Right.
rather keep doing what they're doing, even though they are kind of, they're not actually slaves, but they are kind of, they're not really doing what they enjoy doing. They do it to pay the next bill, the paycheck, but with no goal of ever getting out of the system, right? And
Right.
you ultimately have the goal of not doing this anymore, so you can be
Right.
completely free on your own land.
Right. But I think I've shared those thoughts with them, and a lot of people understand it. But I think that it would take a success story. It would take somebody actually
Yeah.
doing it for them to see that it's actually possible. Or
Mm.
maybe they won't see that it's possible. And I understand their positions too. You know,
Mm.
if you're living in and let's say you're in Taipei and you have two daughters here, are you going to be really willing to pack up your life and move to America? I would probably say it would probably be a bit more of a difficult situation, you know.
Mhm.
Probably, but you wouldn't make that decision so quick. So I see that in my cousins also. Okay, they have their lives, they have their kids or their wives, or they have their house there. They're used to living there. They know their
Mm.
favorite restaurants. Would they be willing to give that up to go to a smaller city where they can become their own business owners?
Yeah.
Maybe, maybe not. But would they want to do it by themselves? Probably not. Whereas I'm just like, wait, I'm fine being by myself. I can go by myself.
So you think it's actually easier to become a small business owner in rural or in smaller or like the Midwest or
Absolutely.
yeah, it's just so
Absolutely.
like the big cities where everybody goes for opportunities is kind of the wrong choice because there's too
You know,
many
it's not
people
the
are
wrong choice. It's just their choice. It's just a choice. It's not a
okay.
right or wrong.
Yeah, I see.
Because you have to give up something. Like,
Yeah.
okay, for example, where my farm is, it's a small town. The nearest town is about 12 miles away, and
Mm.
it's a town of 5,000 people,
Yeah.
5,500 people or something like that. Are there opportunities? Yes, absolutely. You can go there. If you're a plumber, you can go there and start a plumbing business and make money.
Mm.
If you're an electrician, you go there and make money. Start your own business, make way more money.
Mm.
Or you can be in the big city and work a job and maybe get paid $25 an hour for somebody else's company and wait for business calls to come in. And then you go out and do your little job. But there's a trade-off. If I want to go watch a movie, I have to drive 45 minutes to
Right.
another completely another city, to another state, in fact, to Texas,
Mm.
to go watch a movie, or to go skating. Right.
Yeah.
If I want to take a plane ride, if I want to, let's say I want to fly to LA or something like that, I have to
Mm.
drive 2.5 hours first.
Mm.
Versus when I was in Phoenix, it's just a 15-minute drive to the airport.
Mm.
Right. So there are some things that you have to give up. And those are personal decisions that have to be made. Right.
Mm.
Is it right or wrong?
Mm.
I don't know. I don't think it is right or wrong. I think it's just a decision that people make.
Mm.
I don't have a bunch of restaurant choices in the town. I have a McDonald's and a KFC, a Subway, Pizza Hut, a couple of places, but there's no nice restaurants. There's one Italian restaurant, 2 Mexican restaurants, something like that, and they're not very good. Right? But like here, I can go and get Indian food. I can go get this food and this food. And when you're in the city, you can go to the nightclub and there's concerts coming to town and there's all this stuff to do. And it keeps you busy and occupied if that's what you want. And I understand that too.
But I think a big problem nowadays is that people don't know what they want.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I just like my dream since I was 19 was to go to the United States.
Mm-hmm.
And I just see the country deteriorating more and more. People are getting more violent, more unhappy, more drug addicted. They have more expenses and less income measured like by like purchasing power. And I think a reason is because they do all these things that they think they should be doing or that people think are cool, but they don't actually make them happy. So I feel like, yeah, everybody makes their own choice, but I feel like we kind of need to shake them, make them awake a little bit, because
how can you force somebody to change though?
No, not force, but you want to actively talk to them about it, right?
Have you ever thought about that they're looking at us saying the same thing? Why would he want to stay in Taiwan?
Yeah,
His family is here.
I absolutely get it. Yes, they might think I'm crazy, but the big difference is that I have the choice to not be here. I'm here by choice. I actually
They have the
like
choice to not be there too.
Well, I would say a lot of people, they would like to escape, they just don't know how.
Or they don't want to.
You think so? Well,
or they don't want to.
I don't know, because you have talked to me a lot about systemic racism in the United States, and so if you buy into that idea that systemic racism exists, I'm not saying it does or doesn't. I'm just saying if you believe that this is the case, then you logically would also assume that most people think they are stuck and they don't have a choice, correct? Because they would have to step outside of the system in order to not be a victim anymore. Because if you think that systemic racism exists and you are part of the system, then you have to deal with this. How do you step outside of the system?
You how do you say it? Does systematic racism exist? Absolutely. In my opinion, it does. Is it very real? Yes. Is it very hard to get away from it? You can't really get away from it. It's not easy, right? But that does not mean you don't have any choices. It's very different from not having any choices.
Right. Okay. So, but this is the question. So what are the choices? Like, let's say you have a cousin or a niece or a nephew who's young and he's like, Uncle Dooley, I don't know, I'm not doing that well at school. Like, give me advice. What can I do? I feel like this is not fair. I feel like it's all rigged. I try to apply for jobs. They pick the white guy instead, or what? I don't know what his problem might be. What would your advice to him be?
Don't give up. That would be my first thing. And if they're saying, well, maybe school's not for me, and I would say, well, maybe it's not for you. What are you interested in? What do you want to do? I mean, what would make you more happy? All right. So school's not for everybody. School's not for everybody. Some people just don't do well in that kind of situation. And that's fine also. Okay. Well, okay. If school's not for you, let's think of a plan to make you, give you another opportunity. What can you do? What can you change? Right. So I have a great example. This last time I was back in America in August, and one of my younger cousins, I think he's about 20 or something like that now. I guess he follows my Instagram. He was like, man, dude, you out there doing your thing, brother. I'm like, yeah, cool. Yeah, whatever. So, and he was, we got talking, and he was saying that he was wanting to be a photographer. And he said, yeah, let me show you some more pictures. I was like, oh yeah, you got some nice shots. He was like, yeah, but I'm just taking shots with my phone right now because I don't have a camera. And I was like, oh, well, why don't you get a camera? He was like, I don't have any money to get a camera. And I said, well, okay, you don't have money to get a camera. Well, you probably need to get a camera if you want to be a photographer. Right. But in his mind, he's thinking he has to go out and purchase the best top of the line camera. And I'm thinking to him, I said, well, no, you don't need the top of the line camera. Why don't you just go get a used camera that works and start taking shots and start practicing your craft and get better at it and working towards it. He was like, well, I don't have enough money to get a camera. And I was like, well, maybe you need to go get a second job to save up enough money to get your camera so that you can do what you want. But then I'm gonna be tired. And then I said to him, well, it sounds like to me like you don't really want a camera. Right? That's what it sounds like to me, because all I'm hearing is you're telling me that you don't want the camera. He was like, no, I want one. But okay, well, then how are you gonna save it? Well, I guess I have to save up. It'll take me a lot longer. I was like, well, why don't you go work hard for 2 months? Because if you think about it, if you pick up a part-time job working on the weekend for 2 months, you're gonna be able to save an extra $1,000. Plus, you'll probably be able to save more money because you're not gonna be going out all the damn time spending your money. Right? Take that money and go get the camera that you want. And then you don't have to work like that anymore. Then you can start off with what you want to do. But his mind is thinking that I probably don't want to work so hard because I'll be tired. And maybe I'll enjoy life a little less. And I said, well, that's your choice, right? I've given you some advice. It's up to you how you do it because it's your life.
So in the end, people really have to take personal responsibility. They have to be accountable for their own actions. They cannot, even if the system is messed up and puts them at a disadvantage, in order to overcome this, they have to take action.
Absolutely.
Right. You cannot you can't do anything by just complaining about the system. You have to work really damn hard, and it might be unfair. You might have to work twice as hard as a rich white guy who has rich parents and didn't have to work for anything his whole life. But either you work way harder and smarter, or you just are resigned to the fact that you're just going to be there where you are forever, because there is no alternative.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely.
So what I admire about you is that you really look for opportunities to find to leverage stuff. Okay, so how do I rephrase this? There's a lot of things set up for the rich people that the poor people don't know about. And as soon as the poor people find out about these things, they can also take advantage of these laws to increase their chances, or to get a loan or get an opportunity somewhere. So
then they change the rules. That's what they do. Then they start changing the rules of the game. Once too many people find out about it, they change the rules.
So you cannot talk about it.
No, I can talk about it. I'm just telling you what it is.
Okay, for example, like this might not be interesting for a lot of Americans because they don't live in Taiwan, but for example, in Taiwan, a problem might be, okay, for example, because I worked here as a model, or I still work here as a model, but I had an agency. And the problem with modeling Taiwan is that a lot of foreign models in Taiwan, they come here because they worked with an agency in their home country, and they send them here, and then they have a work agreement, they get a work visa. And the company here, the agency in Taiwan, does not pay for their health insurance, which they should be doing.
Right.
Or they should give them a work permit, or like there's a lot of, I wouldn't say loopholes, but the laws are not very clear and
there's
strict.
A way to get around it. There's
right. So the agencies here don't want any more costs. They don't want to give any security to the models here, because they just want as many models as possible and send them all out to the castings. And when the model gets a job, they give some of the money to the agency, and the agency's happy, and they have almost no cost. So what we don't know, especially as foreigners in Taiwan, is how the law really works, because nobody tells us.
Right.
So what you did is you went and asked, and a lot of people just don't do the research, but you did the research, and you said, hey, you can open your own company. You don't need that much money to open a business, and then you can hire yourself, give yourself health insurance, give yourself a work permit, give yourself a permanent residency, and that's what I did. So that was my way. Thank you for telling me to do this, to get out of this victim role. Like, should I just have to do whatever my agency tells me because I have no choice? No, you do have a choice. You just have to know what the law is.
How to work it.
Right. So how does it work in the US? Because you've told me about farming. So a lot of people, let's say somebody says, I actually like the idea, but I don't think I can possibly become a farmer. I don't know anything about it. So what are some of the laws that people in the US can take advantage of that only people in the know so far use, but actually everybody has access to it if only they have the information?
Well, it's not so much laws, but there are programs that you can get on, right?
Okay, programs.
But the programs that you can get on, they have very specific rules, right? So, like, for example, I'm on because I purchased a farm, I'm on a program through the USDA and the NRCS. And for that program, the requirement, in order to get on the program, you have to be a farmer for 2 years before you can even get on the program to get some assistance. So now, how are you going to get financial assistance if you don't have any land? Because you have to either own or operate a land or manage a farm, right? Right. So I was lucky because...
Question, does it matter how much land you have?
No.
So even if it's just 100 square meters, that's okay?
No, that's not, no. I don't know what the specific requirements on how much land. It's not like you can just have 1 square inch of land. Yeah,
of course.
You have to have owned and operated or managed a farm operation. Okay. I should be very clear about that.
Yeah.
It's not like you can't be in the city and have just a house, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Although they're here we go, but that's something else when I would get to how they're changing the rules. Anyway, so I'm on this program, but in order to get on the program, you have to have been a farmer for 2 years. So I purchased my farm and I managed my farm for 2 years. What I consider managing my farm. I had grass.
Yeah.
I had fences. I didn't have any cows at the time, but whatever, I was managing my farm. So then I went and got on the program. What I found out is that they're not telling you all the information. Even when you ask them, they're just going to tell you
who's they?
The people who run the programs.
Who is that? Is it the FDA or what is it?
It's through the USDA.
USDA. Okay.
United States Department of Agriculture.
Oh, okay.
And they have a program called NRCS, Natural Resource Conservation Services. And they have them in these communities. And so in our community, we have this office, and you go in there and say, well, what do you want to do? And in your mind, you're just thinking, well, I just want to be a farmer. Well, you have to have a plan. Okay. So and then you talk to your neighbors and things like that, and they say, well, yeah, they never let us get any money. And then it's, well, somebody's getting the money. Why come we're not getting it? No, they just don't ever want to give it. The only thing they'll give you money for is this, A and B. So I went back and made a little plan to get A and B, not knowing that there's C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, H, all of these other programs that you can be getting on, right? And so I got on that, and then I realized, well, there has to be something else I can get. So I started doing all the research, but they weren't telling me all that. They weren't telling me all the facts.
Yeah.
They just tell you enough to get by, right? So what happens is that you get on these programs and you can get the money. Now here comes the problem. Now that more and more people are finding about how to get on these programs and what programs, now they want to change the rules again, so that you don't know. And then you have to stay on it all the time. They change the names of these programs every other year. This year, it might be the CSP. Next year, it might be CRS. Next year, it might be the NXY, whatever. And they change them. And you have to stay on them, because then they say, oh, well, no, we don't have that program, because when too many people who look like me are getting the money, that means less of them get the money. It sounds bad. It sounds like I'm lying, but it's the truth.
Did somebody say that to you, or is that is that the feeling you have, or what?
No, this is a fact.
No, but did somebody actually say these words to you?
No,
that's the impression you have.
No, it's not an impression. It's a fact. Yeah. And the USDA just got sued by a Black Farmers Association about this is a lawsuit that's been going on for decades.
Yeah.
And the USDA actually lost. They were ordered to pay all billions of dollars back to all these Black farmers. Right. So what happened with that money? That they lost the lawsuit. So what do all these white farmers do? They started a counter lawsuit suggesting that there's reverse discrimination against white people. So now there are billions and billions of dollars held up in the system. I'll have to find the case for you so you can read it, because you would think it would be a joke, right?
Yeah, it sounds like a joke.
They're supposed to pay all this money to, I have to look at the number. It might be $2.2 billion that are supposed to go back to all these Black people who were my grandparents, who never got a dime from the USDA, when all of our white neighbors were getting new tractors and getting funding, getting new grasses put in, getting ponds and things built in, getting new fences put up, getting money to help replace their crops and their cattle and things like that.
Yeah.
My grandparents didn't get any money. All the way from the 1940s,
I guess
50s,
this is how the systemic racism in the United States works, because according to law, of course, you don't have racism anymore. But the problem is that usually more white people have access to the information to gain these benefits.
But why is that? You have to ask yourself why.
Exactly.
Why is that? It's very simple, because they're the ones working in the office.
Right. Yeah.
So if let's say I'm working in the office, right? If I'm working in the office, you come in, I'll say, hey, Sasha, hey, there's this program you can get on. Why don't you sign up for this?
Yeah.
Right? Because you're my friend. I'm going to tell my friends. If somebody comes in I don't like, I'm not going to tell them anything.
Yeah.
Did I lie to them?
No.
No, I just didn't tell them.
Yeah.
Right?
And you're not breaking any laws, so by law you're okay, right? So
here it is. And so that's the systemic racism. That's the systemic part. So when you look at those things and it's happening and you start realizing it, and then you get a little educated and you're like, well, wait a minute, you're not going to keep doing this to me. Yeah, you did that to my grandfather. Yes, you did it to my uncles and aunts, but it's a new generation.
Yeah.
I know how to use the computer now.
Right.
I know how to go look up all the information. Let me go dig it up. So now I'm going to present those things to you and now let you know that it's not going to continue. So now that you start doing all that kind of stuff, now we're getting all this money. They're going to start trying to change the rules and the policies, right? And they're now same thing. You know, now they're supposed to pay us money, and now all of a sudden they're going to sue. We haven't got a dime of that money. None of the funding has been released because they're saying there's reverse discrimination. Now you guys are discriminating against white people. Now you guys have had a head start for 50, 60, 70 years. You guys have had a 60, 70-year head start on us getting all the money. We didn't get none of the money. Now they're saying, well, we're going to help the Black farmers out a little bit and help them out and pay them, not reparations. We're going to help pay this money to help them get their farms up, to help them to get loans for farms, to help them, you know, infrastructure on their farms, to purchase cattle, things like that. We're going to give them a little boost. And now they're going to sue us, a countersuit saying that it's reversed racial discrimination against the white people. Now, how does that work? They're saying, well, it wasn't me who did that. Why should I have to suffer the consequences? No, I'm not saying there's consequences. I'm just saying, just give us some money. And they just feel like, well, we should get some of that money too. So that's the systemic racism part of it. And that's you can't get past that.
How do you make people aware of this information? Because the problem, it's really education. It's
right.
I guess a lot of people think we need to change laws, but the problem is the law isn't really the problem. The problem is that people lack information to make the best choices for themselves, or they don't even know that they have an option there. The law says you can apply for this stuff, but they don't even know they can. So this is not taught in schools. I'm sure there are a lot of programs, not just for farmers, for all kinds of entrepreneurs in the city who want to open a small company and they have a plan, but they don't even know that they have access to these things because nobody teaches them, right?
Well, even if you have access to it, Sasha, just because you have access to something doesn't mean you're going to get it. And here comes the thing again. Same thing. Let's say you have an idea. I have an idea. We both walk into the same bank to get a loan. Are they more or less likely to give you a loan or more or less likely to give me a loan? Right? If they only have $10, we both go in and say, I need a $10 loan.
Yeah.
If it's your friend, is she going to give it to you or is she going to give it to me? Or is he going to give it to you or he's going to give it to me? Or are they going to say, well, now you guys can both have 5?
Yeah.
And that's that. Even though the laws are there, even though the programs are there, their practices is the problem. And I have a great example of that. I have excellent credit, right? I have excellent credit in America. So I went in to get a loan to purchase a piece of property, and my interest rate was extremely high. And I was thinking, why is my interest rate so high? But then I went and talked to this white guy down the way, one of my neighbors where my farm is, and his interest rate is lower than mine. But his credit score isn't as good. And so I got to talking to him about it, and he was like, so he happens to be, he grew up in the town. He knows he knows the manager of the bank. He knows the general manager of the bank. He's part of the committee. He happens to be our neighborhood representative. So he knows somebody who knows somebody, and they can, help him out a little bit.
Yeah.
I didn't get that help.
Yeah.
Right. So those are the specific things. It's going to cost me a lot more than it's going to cost me. It's going to take me more effort, more time, energy than it will cost another person. And I see it happening all the time, even with this. So now I know all these programs I can get on. So now I'm sending out all these notes and emails and things, fighting for all this money. And then they're doing little stuff like, oh, you didn't get my email, or you have to have this in by, you have 2 weeks to get this letter in, or you're not going to be qualified for this year. So now I I know that they do things like that. Oh, I didn't receive it. Oh, you didn't fill this part out. So now when I send emails, I don't send emails to one person. I make sure I'm sending it to their government email, and I'm sending it to them, to their boss, and to their boss.
Oh yeah. You always got to double check. This is what really fucked me over in Taiwan, because this is not even a racial thing. When I went to, after I graduated from university in Taiwan, I wanted to, actually, before I graduated from university, I was in my fourth year, final year. And I had a friend who was from the Philippines who graduated earlier than me. And he said he had trouble. He couldn't find a job here because they told him you needed a graduate degree. Mm-hmm. So he said, you probably need to go to grad school, or you cannot find a job in Taiwan legally. And I'm like, really? Okay, let me check. So I called the German office, or the German business office or something in Taiwan. And I asked them, hey, I'm from Germany. I'm in my fourth year of university. Can I work in Taiwan with a college degree? Can I look for a job after I'm done with my university? And he said, yeah. Where's your friend from? He's from the Philippines. Oh, okay, maybe that's because he's from there, and Taiwanese laws are different for other foreigners, whatever. You don't have to worry, you're German. Okay, good. Mm-hmm. Okay, so that was out of my mind. That was good. I finished my degree, and then I apply for a job. The company likes me, wants to hire me, and then they ask the government. The government says, sorry, you can't hire Zasha because he only has a college degree. He doesn't have a graduate degree. He needs either that or 2 years of work experience. So I'm like,
how can you get work experience?
And then I went to university in Taiwan. I have a degree from a Taiwanese university, and I cannot work in Taiwan. And the law requires me to work for 2 years. And I have to do that abroad. And then I can. And also, I asked this German office in Taipei about the situation. They said, no, don't worry about it. Mm-hmm. So a lot of people who work in offices, bureaucracy, don't even know the law. So yeah, your situation doesn't surprise me at all. It could be racism, could also happen to a white guy. My point is, you always have to double check, triple check, quadruple check many, many different sources, because chances are the person who you're talking to has no fucking idea what they're saying.
May not know.
And because of that shit, I had to leave Taiwan for 3 months because my residency expired. My visa expired. And then I had to come back, go to grad school. Mm-hmm. And in my first year of grad school in Taiwan, they changed the law to you can work in Taiwan with a college degree from a Taiwanese university, which I had. But I was already in my first year of grad school. I'm like, okay, thank you guys for changing the law 6 months after I needed it.
Right.
But I already enrolled. I already paid my tuition. I might as well just finish my freaking graduate degree. So that's what I did. And now I work in an industry where I don't even use my MBA that I have from Taiwanese.
Right.
It's just fucking stupid. So anyway, I just want to encourage everybody, if you have an idea, if you like what Dooley does and you want to check out those programs, just do a lot of damn research, because and
it doesn't matter what you're doing. And Sasha will know what I'm talking about. I had a friend here. He was working for an agency, and he was working here. I think he's been here 5 or 6 years now. He went in to go apply for his APRC, his permanent residency here. When he went in to apply, he found out the agency he was working with never paid taxes.
Oh yeah. Yep. So all his years, 5 years of work experience don't count. Fall for nothing. Sorry, you will have to work for 5 more years before you can apply for a Taiwanese green card, so to say.
Right. Even though they were supposed to be paying his taxes. So
5 years of his life gone. Yeah.
And that's how easy it is when you don't know. And it's because of ignorance. It's not because you're dumb. It's not.
No.
But
nobody's
people
telling
will
you.
Take advantage. No one's telling you, and you don't know. And and we're probably going through the same thing. What's great about it, Sasha, is we're probably doing the same thing right now. There's things that are happening that we don't have any clue.
Yeah, absolutely.
About. that we could be taken advantage of, or we're getting taken advantage of, right? And it's happening all the time.
There are always tax loopholes that the rich people know about that we don't know about. And
right.
So, but I mean, is there an organization or a forum, internet forum, where people, especially Black people, can gather and talk about this and exchange information so that they can pull themselves out of this hole?
In Taiwan?
Anywhere in the United States, especially because the law cannot discriminate, and some people might try to block you from these things, but then you can sue and blah blah blah. And if enough people come together,
class action lawsuit,
then you would have a much higher chance of becoming successful. So
there are those groups, and the thing is when you're going through the court system, it takes a long time. And that's why I say the Black farmers, this has been something that's been going on for decades. The case finally got settled. Now it's back in the courts again. The money's being tied up. So there are still people losing their farms over this stuff, right?
But can you still access some of those grants, or is it?
No, there are different grants you could be applying for.
Okay.
And I apply for them all the time, right?
Yeah,
I'm getting on one right now. I just got accepted, so I'm just waiting on my approval letter so I can get started. But anyways, there are still programs accessible, yes, but we're not getting that back money, right? And then you hear things like this that kind of makes you upset. Well, if you just work harder and stop worrying about all that stuff that's happened in the past, then you'll be fine. But that's not true. That just because I'm working hard does not mean that I should.
You have to work hard and also do extra research and networking and all kinds of stuff.
And hope you get what they owe you from the past too.
Yeah.
Right.
But also you cannot just rely on that and think, I'll just do that and then it's fine. You have to always have like a plan B and plan C and plan D for every, because there
definitely can't rely
one door might be closed for you and then you have to find another way to achieve what you want to do, right?
Right. You got to keep us working all the time and hope that other door opens. Then if I get some of that money that is supposed to be coming, I'll be very grateful. And it would only help me. But that does not mean that I have to stop and wait for that money. I better keep trying to get it now.
Yeah.
Get my own.
But you don't really have a plan B. Like you're already all in your farm and your plan of becoming a farmer, right?
What do you mean? Do I have a plan B?
I mean, there's nothing really that can keep you from finally doing that. You're not going to suddenly change your mind. It's too tough. Too many regulations. I'll just stay in Taiwan. I don't like the US anymore. I don't know. Something like that.
Well, if that's the case, I can always sell my land. I can always sell my houses. All right. If I want to just do that, that's option two. I mean, it's not an option. Or maybe I'll say, well, I'll keep my farm, or maybe I'll hire somebody else to manage my farm, and maybe I'll go live in New York or whatever the case is. Those are all options. But my plan is to go back and live on my farm and run my real estate company and kind of just be like that at some point. But I don't know. Who knows what's going to happen here? Maybe I'll just get a huge job that'll come through, making millions of dollars every year. And then I'll be like, well, maybe I need to stay in Taiwan.
Maybe you're going to make millions of dollars with your chocolate brand.
That would be nice.
Very, very smart product placement. So Dooley gave me his own. This is Dooley's chocolate. Okay. Question. How do you pronounce this? Duké? Duké?
Duké.
Okay. But the English, Duké?
Duke.
But okay. I wasn't sure.
When you have that, the reason I did that is because Duké, right? If Duké.
I got it. Yes. Okay. You took it from the. Okay. So this is. How did you come up with this idea? Like, okay, is it because? Honestly, is it because you're Black? You just say people make chocolate jokes about me all the time. I might as well just get my own chocolate brand.
Well, yeah. Well, that's part of it. Yeah. Well, why not?
So that's what I'm saying. You're leveraging the racism in Taiwan to make some more money. That's how you do it. That's how you're smart. Wow. Good job.
No, but I also love chocolate. Let's get it straight. I love chocolate.
Who doesn't, right?
I love chocolate, and I really enjoy my chocolate. And I tried to do flavors and things that make sense to me that Taiwan doesn't necessarily have. Like chocolate and pecan, chocolate and walnut and caramel and stuff like that. You don't really see that in Taiwan.
Can we do it just a quick taste test right now?
Absolutely.
Okay, I have
what flavor is that? That's sea salt.
Sea salt. Okay. By the
What's
way,
your personal favorite?
My personal favorite is probably the sea salt pecan.
You like that one, huh?
It has a little bit of crunch, it has a little bit of salt, and so this chocolate is really good because it's all pretty natural ingredients. It's, for example, the sea salt has 3 ingredients. It's the cocoa beans or cacao beans, then a coconut sugar and salt, and that's it. So there's no like highly processed stuff in there. It's good.
Yeah.
So where do you sell this stuff?
Just online on our website, dukechocolate.com. And that's where we're selling it right now. I'm thinking about trying to get on some of the other online platforms and things like that, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Okay, here I got the salted pecan. I'm gonna.
You didn't show them what it looks like.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. I was rushing. I wanted to have it in my mouth. Okay.
Yeah, I heard the last time I gave you a box of chocolate.
Yeah.
You ate them all in one sitting.
Yeah. Okay. So I wanted to make a video for Dooley last time. I recorded the video at home, finished the whole box in one sitting because I'm crazy. And then I want to edit the video and I realized the microphone didn't work. So I wasted a whole box and couldn't do anything. All right. So this is can you see that? Okay, that's a pecan. There's some salt here. Looks really nice. And so you have 2 different packagings.
3.
Right?
There are 3.
So now 3.
Yeah. So we have the gift box.
Mm-hmm.
We have, this is the medium bag, and then we have a large bag also. So this one has 24 in it, and then we have another one has 32.
And you only sell that in Taiwan, right?
Right. Yeah, only selling in Taiwan right now. Although my sister has requested some, so I might have to send some to America.
Yeah.
But I don't know how I'm going to do it because especially in the summertime, if it gets hot, chocolate doesn't do good. Chocolate in the sun is not good.
Yeah. Okay. My problem is that I'm addicted to chocolate, so I just can't stop. Okay, one more. Where is the other flavor? Wait a second. I can't find it. Ah, there we go.
Did you eat them all?
No. I still got a bunch in here.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So I got the candied walnut.
Yeah, that's my personal favorite. That one and the pecan is my personal favorites.
So, okay. For this, I'm also going to give you a little sound. It is very good. It is very good. You told me, hey, I want to do my own chocolate. And I was like, I wonder if it's actually good.
Right. Everybody kept telling me that. They were like,
is he just going to do some crappy chocolate? No, this is actually really, really high quality chocolate. So yeah, no.
Mondo said the same thing. I brought him because when I was working on the chocolate, I had tasted literally hundreds of different types of chocolate and different combinations of the pecans and the salt and trying to get all the flavors right. And so I had taken some somewhere and I let Mondo taste, and he was like, well, it's probably gonna taste like crap. And Mondo's always on a diet, right? Getting ready for some kind of mistake. He's like, yeah, I can't eat it because I'm going on this competition, but I'll try one. And then he ate one, and then he grabbed like 10 and he ate like 10 in a row. I was like, what do you do? I thought you said you couldn't have it. He was like, yeah, but I didn't think it was actually going to be that good.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good. Yeah, did a good job on this one.
Thank you.
Yeah. So the initial idea for the gift was for like Valentine's Day, or what's the occasion there?
It was Christmas, Chinese New Year.
Yeah.
Valentine's Day, all those times. So we came up with that gift box. And then now we're coming up with the larger packaging for the normal sales. And then hopefully next week we'll be launching our new products, which are going to be cookies. Oh, chocolate cookies or just cookies? We're going to have 4 different flavors. So we have like you have to see. I can't tell.
Okay. Cannot spoil it.
Can't divulge too much. But I'll tell you one thing. One of the flavors will be a very special flavor that does not have chocolate in it.
Okay.
But it's going to be special.
Do you gear it for Taiwanese group, the target audience, or is it?
Of course.
Yeah,
I'm selling
okay.
in Taiwan, right?
So okay, so there might be some matcha flavor in there or something like that.
Yeah, well, there might be that one, but I
okay, no, don't spoil. It's okay.
I want to say this.
I can imagine like some like Taiwanese popular flavors. Yes,
there's going to be one flavor that you would never expect.
Okay,
and it's only going to be
white chocolate.
Flavor. No. I can't tell you anything.
Now I wanted to make a stupid racial joke again. Anyway,
well, there might be white chocolate.
Okay.
Next week we're going for our second round of tasting of our cookies, and so we're still in the process of getting my recipe down the way I want it, and that I like it for my cookies. And then hopefully by May we'll be launching, because chocolate is not going to do so well in the heat.
Yeah.
Right. So we're gonna maybe hopefully doing cookies and start going other things that have to do with chocolate, but there are going to be some flavors that are not chocolate.
Okay, cool. Nice. All right. So you're a very entrepreneurial person. Always
try something.
Yeah, it's good. I learned from you.
I heard that you're going to be starting your own porn company, right?
Yes. I haven't thought of a porn name yet. I might need your input for that.
We could think on it, but I just want to be the director.
I just did a trial shoot the other week, and I actually can send you some footage, and you tell me if I did it well, and then.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'm totally into that. I'm totally into that.
Yeah. So that was last week was a bukkake. I haven't done anal yet. I'm going to try that next week, and then you can tell me if which one you like more, and
you might be taking it a little bit too far, but okay.
No, okay. So everybody who's we're joking. I did not get into porn. I don't have any plans to get into porn. I leave that stage for Dooley.
Hey,
especially as a black guy in Taiwan. You know what they say about
hey, I tell you what. If they pay me enough, I'll do it, because freedom is not free.
Yeah. Whatever you do, you have to do.
Let me ask that. If they gave you enough money, would you do it?
For one porn, or would it for like, do I have to do it for?
Let's just say Sasha got $100,000 right here.
No, that's not enough money. No.
It's not really?
No, 100,000 is not enough. No.
100,000 US?
Nah, I'm not gonna do a porn for 100,000. No. Shit, no fucking way, dude.
I'll get out there and slang this dick around for 10,000.
What?
Hell yeah.
You're way too cheap, dude.
Hey.
This is nothing. Look,
I know.
Here's my thinking. If I ever do porn, I have to get paid so well that I never have to have another job in my life, because I might never be able to have another job after I do this porn movie. Nobody would want to hire this guy.
Anybody gonna worry about all that? I'll tell you what. I did this TV show today, and I was talking to one of these a Taiwanese entertainer here, a very famous girl, and she was saying that she's interested in going to get like to use someone, like going to a sperm bank in America.
Oh yeah.
She wants to get pregnant, but she doesn't want to get married.
Right.
I was like, well, I'm looking for somebody. I'm looking for that. Why don't you use my sperm? And she was like, well, I want a white person.
Oh my.
Yeah, but okay.
Systemic racism is everywhere.
Well, that's not systemic racism. That's a preference, and I can get that. I can get that, bitch. I didn't want you no damn way. No. But we were talking about it. She was like, yeah, in Taiwan, she was telling me that she would never use sperm from Taiwan, from a Taiwanese person, because she felt like Taiwan is so small. What if her daughter her child end up getting with this person's child, and they didn't know each other, or whatever, that kind of. She was saying Taiwan is too small, so she wanted to get a foreigner from a different country, which was fine. But then got talking about, and she was saying that in Taiwan, you can sell your sperm for 8,000 NT, but the law says that you can only sell it for once.
Oh.
So I was thinking, well, shit, 8,000. And then we got to talk a little bit more. She was like, yeah, well, like, I don't see why all the guys don't go and do it, really, because for $8,000, like, you're flushing your sperm down the toilet every damn day. for free.
Well, it's because I don't want to have some little Sasha running around, and I'm not involved. No.
But they wouldn't. How would they know? How would they know it was a little Sasha?
Now I would know that somebody's having my baby.
What's the problem with that?
If I ever have a kid, I would like to raise it, but not accidentally. I want to plan everything. I want to be the father of the kid. I don't want the kid to ask mommy, who's my daddy, and then she turns on YouTube. Oh, it's this guy. Why?
No,
Why isn't he my wife?
Know. If you go to a sperm bank, they wouldn't know.
In Taiwan, it says height, weight, nationality. Like,
so you went to the sperm bank already? It sounds like to me.
No, but that's what I've heard, like from movies or whatever. You can kind of pick, right? Do you have no idea?
I don't know how it works in Taiwan.
How does it work in the US? Do people?
In America, in America you can go
right. You can have like eye color and hair, like all that stuff, right?
Like how much school did they go to?
Yeah, like degree, whatever. Yeah, exactly. I mean,
well, let's just put this out there. If we have some people out here in Taiwan listening, I'm looking for someone to carry my babies, but I'm not trying to get married. So yeah.
But you want to raise the baby?
Yes.
So what preference do you have? Any preference?
Not necessarily. I think what I would be looking for is because it's illegal in Taiwan, by the way.
Oh, what? Then you shouldn't even be talking about it here.
No, because you cannot do artificial insemination in Taiwan unless you're married. But if we went to, let's say, America, we could do it.
Okay. See, right? Always looking Thailand. For those loopholes. Very smart.
Yeah. You can't get it done in Taiwan unless you're married. But I could fly to, let's say, me and I don't know, anybody. We decided we wanted to have. She would be willing to have my child. Maybe she feels because what's strange about it, Sasha, is I've been talking to so many entertainers in Taiwan.
They all feel
the same way.
They all want your baby.
No, not necessarily mine, but they don't want to get married. But they are wanting because people are when you get 32 years old, you're a woman, you're 32 years old, and they're like, because I don't know how much longer I'm gonna be in a situation where I'm healthy enough to have a baby. Yeah. I don't want to be 40.
Yeah.
Or whatever the case is. And then there are other people who feel like, well, I feel like I want to have a child to experience it, but I don't know if I can raise a baby right now. And
yeah. Okay.
But they want to experience what it feels like to be pregnant and to go through that process.
Wow.
For me, I don't really want to get married, but I do want to have a child. And I'm financially stable enough to where I can.
Would you consider adopting one?
Yes, but here we go. Another law in Taiwan: you have to be married to be able to adopt in Taiwan.
Right. Yeah, we talked about this on the TV show recently. That is messed up, right?
Yeah. So you can't adopt a child unless you're married, even if you have the financial ability to raise a child. You have to be married.
Do you have to be married to a Taiwanese person in Taiwan, or could you be married to a foreigner in Taiwan and still adopt a child?
I don't know, but I know for sure it has to be just a straight marriage, like a man and a woman. You can't because I have some friends of mine who are married. Two friends of mine, they're both men and they're married, but they can't adopt either.
Yeah.
So
that is I wonder when they're going to change that.
Well, that's a legal issue. I don't know about that. But there are ways to but then they have like surrogacy groups and things like that.
Excuse me, I just need one more. I'm still addicted. Keep talking.
Time. But they do have some surrogacy groups and things like that come to Taiwan. They talk about how would you be able to do it if you went to Thailand or to America or to England or something like that. They would fly you over. There are agencies that can help you set it up so that you can do those things if you were interested.
Well, I'm in a situation where I think at some point in my life I will want to have a child, but I'm currently so far away from that. There's so many other things that I want to do first, and if I had a child, I would want to be a very involved father, and I don't want a nanny. I don't want to be working full time and only see my kid in the evening or in weekends. I want to be in a situation where I can actually spend time and see my kid grow up and be heavily involved in educating and raising it,
Right.
because I don't want anybody to ruin my child for me. If my child grows up to be a shitty person, I only want myself to blame for that, and not, I
Right.
don't want to be mad at somebody else for ruining my child.
How's it? Have you thought about like what it means to be like? Do you want to be 40? Are you going to be 50 when you have your first child, or does that not even matter?
Well, when I was 30, I thought, oh, maybe when I'm 35.
Mm.
Then I turned 35, and I'm like, maybe when I'm 40. I'm 37 now.
Right.
And I'm like, when 40, maybe, I don't know. I'm not currently there. No.
Right. And I think that's kind of what messed me up, because, I thought, I have some of my friends when they were like 20, they started having kids. And so now I'm looking back and their kids are like in university now. And I'm like, damn, why I didn't have any kids. But then there's that trade-off that I see also. Like,
Yeah.
I've traveled all over the world.
Yeah.
I've done all these things.
And you can still have kids.
And I can still have kids,
right? It's not like you just need a woman who's willing to give you a kid, basically.
Right. Well, not just necessarily give me a kid. Like I'm kind of in discussions with a couple of friends of mine actually on whether or not, because I have a couple of girlfriends of mine who are because of they are singers, but they always kept putting off having children because they felt like their career was more important, right?
Yeah.
And now they're approaching 40 and they're just like, well, I don't know how much longer I'm gonna be able to have kids, but I haven't been able to find the right person who I want to get married to either.
Yeah.
So like, do I want to, go to a sperm bank or something like that? And
that's a problem that I have too. Like, I have become so picky. At some point, you're too picky for your own good. You're just so, yeah, you're always waiting for the right person, but if the right person never comes,
right.
At some point you're just going to settle, right?
Right. Can you imagine when you first came to Taiwan having a child? How old were you when you first came to Taiwan?
20. I was really young, 20 years old.
Oh, okay. Well, let's not go back that early. Imagine when you first started Irvin G Tong at that time, when we first started doing TV.
Yeah.
Imagine having a kid at 30 years old.
Yeah, I would not have.
Would you have been able to financially do it?
I would have been, but I would have had to make a lot of changes.
Right.
So what I did when I started my TV career, I was still teaching on the side. And then after like around 2 years into my TV career, I stopped teaching because I could. I was financially secure enough that I could just full-time do modeling and TV and acting and stuff. But if I had had a kid, one more mouth to feed, and potentially having to buy rent a bigger apartment or pay food, not just for my kid, for also a wife or a girlfriend, I would have had to teach at least 10 hours a day, not a day, a week. So, and then I would have had less time to focus, and less energy to focus on my TV career, and that would have probably tapered off.
Right.
So
there it is.
I like where I am right now. Yeah, I like the choice I've made. And I can still have kids. I don't want the responsibility of a kid, because to me it's a huge responsibility. And that's also why I don't have a pet, because I love animals. It's not that I don't love animals. I do. When I have an animal, I want to make its life great.
Right.
So I don't want the animal to live in a tiny apartment, not have enough time to spend with it, not give it the best food. So I want to be financially secure and have enough free time to really give it the best. That's
you talk about them right now. I'm thinking about my two babies in there. They're probably looking for me. My little Joe and my Peanut, my little baby boys.
I thought you only had one. When did you get the second one?
I got my second dog 2 years ago, almost 2 years ago to the date. A little poodle. He's an older dog. He's like 12 or 13. He has cataracts in one of his eyes.
Oh.
He was thrown out on the street by somebody who didn't want him. I found him in a cardboard box, and so I rescued him.
It happens a lot in Taiwan, unfortunately.
Yeah, but he's just a little poodle, little poodle like this big, and so I originally was thinking, well, I'll pick him up and take him to the doctor. He was sick, and had all these health problems. So I took him to the vet and paid for all his bills. And then I was like, well, I'll post on my Facebook and see if anybody wants to adopt him. And then he stole my heart. And now I have two babies.
Nice.
Little bad booger. He has an attitude problem too. But he's getting old. So I feel like he should have a happy life. He's an older dog now, 13 or 14. We're not sure. He's got so many little, like, got all his teeth are falling out. His breath stink.
Oh my. Yeah.
I think he might have a little bit of dementia too.
Damn, that's not going to be easy on you when the dog passes, huh?
It's never easy, but I think it kind of trains you for life. Like,
yeah, I think that's important too. Yeah, definitely.
I
remember I took care of my mom had a friend who had a cat, and she went on vacation, let me take care of it for like a week. And I fell in love with that little cat. It was still very young, was a few months old. And then she came back from vacation, took the cat back. And like a month later, she said, oh, the cat got run over by a car.
Oh,
I was like 7 years old. I was so fucking sad. I was like, no, why her? I loved her so much. And that was my first time having to deal with death, really.
Yeah.
And then later I had to see another cat die basically in front of my eyes. She had a fight with another cat of ours, and she got scratched in the mouth, and she was bleeding. It didn't stop the whole day. And she was trying to get up in front of me and looked at me like, help. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. And then she's like, ugh. And that was fucking heart-wrenching. It was horrible.
Yeah,
I'm still terrified of dying and getting old. That to me, that's the scariest thing. Like not being healthy and in control of your life, basically.
Well, it's a tricky situation because no matter how healthy you are, at some point you're gonna get up off of this earth.
Yeah, I know. It's scary. I'm not
you
ready
are gonna
to
get
go.
up off of here. You cannot stay here. You can forget that.
Yeah.
And then one of my little favorite things to say is, hey, if one thing's for sure, if you woke up this morning, you're still living. So I would much rather be getting older than to be dead.
Oh yeah,
because you only have two choices.
Right.
Either you're getting older or you're dead.
Right.
So I'm going with getting older. So I'm gotta accept my little white hairs coming in. I gotta accept that my little hair fell out a little bit. I gotta accept that my sex drive is not a little as high as it used to be.
But that's a bonus. If your sex drive was as high as it was 10 years ago, you wouldn't even be like. That's kind of a distraction, right? I feel like
I was out in the streets.
When I have less, but when I have less sex drive, I can actually focus on work a little bit more. I'm not constantly chasing pussy, That's not.
Yeah,
that's not
well, hey, it's not a good thing. But I tell you what, don't look up and then be like, "Damn, wait a minute, I haven't thought about sex in a month."
Really, it's that extreme for you?
No, not me. I'm talking about my friend.
Okay, your friend.
No, I'm just saying, but those things happen. Like, and a lot of times we men don't talk about that. And so I just started a new YouTube series called Detox, where we're going to talk about all
I want to
things.
talk. Yeah, yes. I was a guest recently. Yeah. So you also have a YouTube channel. Yeah, you do everything. You have chocolate, you have a farm, you do TV shows, you do singing, you have a YouTube channel. He does it all. Okay.
No,
so what's your
I'm
YouTube
trying to do everything.
Yeah, what's your YouTube channel?
Well, we used to do a bunch of different stuff, and I just didn't have time to really maintain the YouTube channel.
Yeah.
So I kind of slacked off on it. We did it for like 2 months, and we got pretty decent following for just 2 months. I think I got up to like 40,000, 30,000 subscribers, something like that.
Yeah, it was good.
And then I stopped. But then we decided that we're going to start a new series because I told them that I want to do something, where men can sit down and have those conversations that we normally don't have.
Yeah.
Because men don't normally talk about the fact that, hey, my sex drive, I don't have the same sex drive I used to have, Sasha.
Does it bother you?
About that?
Does it bother you?
No, it doesn't. And I wish my dad would have talked to me about that.
Oh, absolutely. I made so many mistakes, even into my late 20s, because I never had guidance from anybody. I didn't have sex ed in school. For some reason, I don't know if I was sick during that week or that we just skipped it. I don't know. Never had that. My parents never taught me anything. I didn't have an older brother or older sister who could teach me anything. I had to make so many mistakes. I had to make several girls uncomfortable.
Right.
And I really had to learn what to do, what not to do, how to talk to women. It's tough. Yeah. And we really need sex education, especially in Taiwan, because it's still a taboo topic here. And
and it's not just about sex, but there are a lot of things that men need to sit down and have honest conversations about what it means to be a man and to go through life and to be encouraged and to know that, hey, you're not the only one going through these problems. You know, you're not the only one having this situation. We're in this together. So let's sit down and have a conversation about it, because women actually talk about it. Women talk about, I'm on my period right now. Little stuff like that.
Yeah.
Women will talk about it. Men do not talk about
that. I think there's a certain, men don't want to make themselves so vulnerable, I guess, especially, I think there's always this fear that we are weaker or not as good as other guys.
It's that men thing about us.
Yeah.
But I think we have to let that go and, provide an opportunity just to sit down and talk. Because it was just, even just talking, we were talking about sex drive. I had this conversation with a friend of mine. And I said, oh man, I realized something. I haven't had sex in like 2 weeks. I haven't even masturbated in like 2 weeks.
That's
and I'm like,
nothing.
And I'm thinking, am I getting sick? Like, and I talked to my friend. He was like, no, I think it's normal for our age, because sometimes it happens to me too. And I was like, but I used to be on. I had to go every day, and I haven't even thought about it for 2 weeks. He was like, just relax, like it's normal. Like it happened to me, and so we started talking about it, and we're like, okay, so this is how it actually works. But no one ever told me that once you get 40, you're not. Or maybe not 40, maybe it happens at 35 for some people. But at
Dude,
some
I
point,
don't even masturbate anymore. But not because I don't have sex drive. There were times in my life where, and this sounds pathetic, I don't know, I guess a lot of guys have that problem, they just never talk about it, but I would catch myself masturbating, not because I really needed it. It was like more like I was bored or I wanted to entertain myself. It wasn't because I necessarily wanted to have sex. And then I sometimes did it twice a day when I didn't. I feel like it's more I wanted a stimulus, but then I did it and I felt like, what? Also, sometimes you do it and then you have to go somewhere. Oh shit, I'm gonna be late. I'm gonna rub one out real quick. And then you're late for a job interview or something, and it's fucking ridiculous. And it's always like looking at some porn online, and then I'm like, I think this is pretty sad, this is pretty stupid. And then I feel to a certain extent it's an addiction, and not actually, you're not actually doing it because that's what you really want. It was like that to me, because then sometimes I would do it when I didn't even want to do it, just because it's an addiction. Like I didn't feel good doing it, and I would do it. For example, I would do it in relationships. I had a girlfriend, and I would still masturbate, and I wouldn't have sex with her. So, and I'm like, this is not right. And then a couple years ago, I don't know how many years, like maybe 3 or 4 years ago, I just stopped looking at porn. I just I didn't watch porn anymore. No, I just don't masturbate anymore.
Well, I'm not a big porn watcher, but hey, sometimes I just got to rub one off. I just don't do it anymore. Sometimes you need it. Hey, I tell you what thing, if I'm not going to have sex, I'm definitely going to be rubbing something off. And I have a kind of general line of thought: if you don't use it, you'll lose it.
Oh, I still use it. Absolutely. Hey, I know you absolutely have to use it. Yes.
You got to be using
that
joke.
I mean, I could still do it, but I feel like I don't want it to get into the way of relationships. like I feel sometimes I did it, and I think other guys do that too sometimes, as an escape, and they don't face other problems, underlying problems they have maybe in a relationship or self-worth feelings.
Wow, not me. I do it because I need to go to sleep.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I never really did it before going to sleep. I always always did it when I should have been doing something else instead.
Oh,
Kind of like a distraction. It was always a distraction to me, like a drug, kind of. So to me, it was better for me to quit, so I wouldn't. It wasn't really helpful in my life, I think.
Hey, like I said, everyone has their own path, their own decisions. And I think they have to make those choices for themselves. What makes you happy? Do what makes you happy. Because at the end of the day, you have one life. You have one chance at this thing. You have one opportunity to get it right. So you have to do what makes you happy.
Yeah.
And that's what I believe. Keep learning, keep living, but do what you got to make you happy. Do what it takes to make yourself happy. That's what I think.
Yeah. And
that's my plan.
Yeah. And I hope we can all spread awareness of, if we learn something, if you learn a skill or a wisdom, knowledge, we just share it with as many people as we can and hope that it inspires them to also change something in their lives, right?
That would be the hope. That would definitely be the hope. Okay.
Well, thank you, Dooley.
Thank you for having me on your podcast, Sasha. I appreciate it.
I don't know much about the
podcast world.
Yeah, please share it with your friends in the US and everywhere. I would like to have more American listeners in the future, because I have a lot of English episodes and I need more English listeners.
I don't know anything about the podcast world, the podcast lab. It's a hard life out here on these podcasts, I guess.
There are too many podcasts.
Are there?
Yeah, thousands.
Probably more than that. I wouldn't even know. I don't know. I've only listened to a couple podcasts in my entire life. But okay, well, I'm interested. I definitely enjoyed myself and have enjoyed the conversation.
Yeah.
Now I'm about to go. I made dinner earlier, so I'm about to go fix up this. Made some bacon wrapped chicken breast and some diquoyer. What is it? Sweet potato leaves.
Yeah.
And some steamed vegetables.
That sounds ketogenic.
No, and some white rice.
Oh, okay.
Almost had me.
All right.
All right, have a good day then.
Take care, bro.
Thanks for having me again.
Yeah. All right.